Yeah.
Hey guys, Happy Conscious Girl here. I'm sorry it's been about a week since my last vlog. I know I've had a lot of people contact me and say, "What's happened to you? Are you okay?" I am okay. I'm doing really, really well. It's been an amazing first 10 days on this round. Really, really good. I've been losing at much higher rates than I did in my previous round. I've been having days where I've been losing 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, a couple of days of 0.6. I've had 1 or 2 days with smaller losses, like maybe 0.2 or 0.3, but mostly they've been quite big, so it's been quite dramatic. I didn't have those really in the first or second round after the loading weight was gone. You know, usually I lose a lot the first few days and the loading weight's gone and then it goes much slower. So I think it's probably because, you know, where I'm living is so peaceful. I think the sun might have just come through the clouds, so it suddenly got very bright. Hopefully it'll calm down a bit. But yeah, it's beautiful here. It's very relaxing. You can probably hear the birds. You know, we have a very peaceful lifestyle. I'm going to bed much earlier than I used to. I'm getting up much earlier than I used to. The air's fresh, the food's fresh, so, you know, I definitely feel within myself much calmer, although there have been a few days where my partner and I have been in crazy work mode doing our projects, and I have stayed up late again and woken up very tired and not had as big a result on the scales the next morning. So for me, there's always a direct correlation with how rested I am. I think that might be kookaburras. Famous Australian birds. Can you hear them? So anyway, the exciting news is, as of 10 days of VLCD, I am now basically back at my LIW, which is where I ended up round 2. I ended round 2 at exactly 60 kilograms, and I am currently 60.1. So that's, you know, basically 60 kilograms. So that's very exciting, because it basically means from now on, anything that I liberate is going to take me into totally new territory that I've never been in before in my whole life, because that LIW was the lowest I've ever been. And in a way, it was good that I stabilized higher because of everything that happened with moving house and injuring myself and not being able to walk for a few weeks and not being able to eat P3 foods. It basically has meant that I'm getting to come back down to this weight again, but this time it feels really familiar. Whereas when I was at this weight last time, it was like so radical and new. I'd never been here in my life, and I was like, who am I? Who is this person in the mirror? Whereas this time, I'm like, oh, I'm back at this again. I know this. This is comfortable. I like myself like this. So, you know, it's very familiar, so it's easy, and I think that's probably why I've come back here so fast. I'm taking 10 days to lose 3 kilograms plus the loading weight, so that's about 5 kilograms altogether in 10 days. That's pretty fast. So from now on, it's just going to be a whole new world once I'm in the 50s. I've never ever been there. I never even thought someone my height could be there, but it turns out there's quite a bit of fat on my body, so that's interesting. What is interesting is that being back at 60 again, compared to when I was at 60 at the end of round 2, my measurements are different than they were. My measurements are actually bigger now than they were when I was this weight at the end of round 2. They're not that much bigger. They're maybe 0.5 centimetre or 1 centimetre bigger, so it's about 0.5 inch, but it's still very noticeable. And I've realised it's because, obviously, in those 3 weeks where I couldn't walk, where I hurt my back and everything, I probably lost muscle mass. So yeah, I'm the same weight on the scales I was pre that injury, but I'm a little bit fleshier, so I'm probably going to have to drop a little bit lighter on the scales to get rid of all my body fat than I would have done if I had been able to continue in round 2. So, you know, I'm not worried about it. I know that, you know, I'm totally well now and I'm back walking around again, and after this round I'll start exercising, and I'm sure my muscle mass will all come back. You know, I'll end up slightly heavier from that extra muscle mass, but at the moment I just have to be aware that that muscle mass is not there, so I'll probably end up a bit lighter temporarily till I put that muscle back on. So, you know, I'm not mad about it or upset about anything. It was just sort of fascinating to see how just a few weeks off your feet, I'm not talking about a few weeks away from exercising, I mean a few weeks where you can't walk, can really, really make a difference to your muscle mass. Ooh, it's got very sunny again, hasn't it? I wonder if I should turn it. That's a bit better. I just moved us out of the sun. I moved my little table and chair out of the sun, so hopefully that's a bit better. The other exciting thing is that some people in the HCG community are starting to read my book, Mindset Magic, my ebook. And, you know, as you guys know, I don't really have anyone promoting it or publicists or anything. The only people who know about it so far are you guys on YouTube and people on Facebook, because I've been posting on Facebook about it. Other than that, no one knows about it yet. So it's a very small number of people reading it. But the people who are reading it are loving it, because I'm getting lots of emails from people, I'm getting, you know, messages from people on Facebook, and they're finding it incredibly helpful. And so what I've done is I've actually set up a private Facebook group for people who are reading the book or planning to read the book or have already finished reading the book to discuss it, because there's a lot of really deep ideas in it that apply to your HCG journey, like about your beliefs that are limiting you in your journey, about lack of motivation people have, about goals you may or may not have, about your fears about being slim, your fears about being fat, your relationship to your body. There's a lot of very deep stuff, and it's the sort of stuff that people don't tend to feel comfortable to talk about on Facebook, like their real challenges with the food, not just what recipes, but like the mindset and emotional side. So I set up a private Facebook group. So the best thing to do if you want to get in the group, I'm asking people to just go to the public page I've set up, which is available for everyone. It's called HCG Holistic Series. Just a normal public Facebook page. You just click like on that page, and then either myself or a couple of HCG friends of mine who are going to help me out with this are going to keep an eye out for you guys. And if you write a comment there saying, oh, I'm loving the book, you know, I'd love to join the private Facebook group, we'll add you. One of us will see it, one of us will add you. So that's very exciting. I feel like a little community starting to build around the book. Obviously, as I said, there's no proper publicity machine or anything behind it. So, you know, if you guys have read it and you like it, I really want to ask you to tell your friends. If you're on any HCG forums, go and write about it there. If you're on Twitter or Facebook or Blogger or YouTube or anywhere that you are, MySpace, you know, Tumblr, anything, just tell your friends about it, because the only way people are going to find out about it at this stage is through you guys and word of mouth. Maybe down the track I'll hire someone and do some publicity, but at the moment I'm putting my focus on finishing writing the next book, which is the one really with the core emotional stuff. The first book was about mindset. But I do want to read you one really lovely thing that a YouTuber wrote. She wrote me a review on Amazon of the book, and it was so lovely. I want to read it to you guys, so I think you'll find it really beautiful. I'll just put my trusty glasses on so I can read it. I've got Amazon on my iPhone. And this is actually from a vlogger, fellow HCG vlogger, JC Serendipity. Thank you so much for writing a review. It's so sweet of you. She wrote this. I bought and read the Mindset Magic book in one sitting and I loved it. I'm going out first thing tomorrow morning to buy a notebook and some fun pens. I can't wait to get started on all of the processes set out by Happy Conscious Gal in the book. I'm preparing to do my third round at the end of December. I was quite successful on my first round, but sputtered and limped my way through the second round, having pesky problems with mindless emotional eating. So I've committed to taking my time to properly prepare for a successful third round, and I just know that if I work through the processes in the book, they will help me change my mindset. And then she says, encourages people to watch my vlog. Isn't that sweet? So I'm really, really proud of her, because I think that taking the step to read this book and do the processes before her round, she's going to see massive difference in her attitude towards her round and her effectiveness on it and her commitment to it, her motivation, her ability to resist temptation and the urge to cheat, because she's going to have a rock solid mindset. Because the processes in that book are the ones that I myself have used, and as you guys know, the one thing I do have is a very rock solid mindset. It's made my 3 rounds of HCG very easy. I've never cheated and I've never stalled, and I think it's because of my mindset. So anyway, I thought that was very sweet of her to write that. So thank you, JC Serendipity. And anyone else on here who has read the book, I really, really ask you to go to Amazon and also write a review, because as I said, the only way people are going to know about this is if we tell them. Obviously don't write a review if you don't like the book, but if you like the book, which it seems that most people are, then they review. This really is a circle of love, and it's all happening through word of mouth. So I wanted to tell you about a couple of things that have made this 10 days really easy for me, a couple of new things that I've discovered that I never did in my first 2 rounds with my P2 foods. I'm not a big expert on foods. As you guys know, I'm more an expert on the mindset and the psychological and the emotional side of this. But every now and then I try something new and I want to share it with you, even if it's just practical stuff. So the first thing is I have been eating a lot of this. Cultured fermented vegetables. Super green sauerkraut, living superfood. Organic, vinegar-free, gluten-free, probiotic-rich, delicious. And it's basically got in it green cabbage, green apple, kale, spirulina, chlorella, stuff like that, and lots of acidophilus-y things, lactobacillus culture starter, blue-green algae. Basically, it's fermented vegetables, it's sauerkraut. What that means is you take vegetables and some salt and a starter, a culture starter, and you ferment it for a long time. And some people ferment them for months or days or weeks or whatever, and all the little enzymes get in and break down all the vegetables, and it becomes sort of bubbly, almost like champagne. It's a sort of sour taste. It's a very acquired taste. In Europe, they eat a lot of it. It's incredibly healthy. It replenishes your gut with all these living enzymes that can go to work inside and do everything they need to do. And for the couple of months before I started this round, I was eating lots of different kinds of sauerkrauts and kimchis. I've been really into fermented foods as part of my sort of healthy living foods, replenish your gut kind of approach to eating. And when I started this round, I was like, oh, I really don't want to cut out fermented foods because that's been the most healthy, nourishing thing I've been doing the last few months since finishing my last round. And after about 3 or 4 days on this round, I suddenly thought, well, why can't I have a tiny bit of fermented vegetables? I bet it's really low calorie. It's just green stuff. So I went online, I did some research, and I found this woman, Shipra, who many of you probably know. She is the sort of HCG guru for raw food and vegetarians. And she posts lots of recipes for how to do this diet as a raw foodie or as a vegetarian. And I've looked at her before because I tend to do a bit of that in the course of my P2 because I don't always want to eat fish every single meal, and I'm not a meat eater. So she recommended adding sauerkrauts and fermented green vegetables into your P2. She said it increases her losses. So I was like, wow, okay, I'll try it. So I tried it the next day, and I lost 0.9, and I was like, wow, this is cool. So maybe my higher losses this round have been to do with the sauerkraut. I don't know, but I've been having a big, not big, but for phase 2, big serve of it. For a normal diet, it's a small serve, but, you know, a substantial amount of it on the plate, and then I usually mix it with tuna or my fish or something. And that's my meal, my lunchtime meal every day. And it's great because I feel like I'm still getting nutrition even though I'm on P2. I'm still getting all these enzymes even though I'm on P2. And it's really just a substitute for one of my vegetable servings. So I'm not saying you should do it. I'm not saying anyone should do anything. I'm just saying I tried it, and I feel so much healthier as a result. My bowel movements have been totally every single day regular. Nothing has changed. Totally healthy. So maybe it's from the sauerkraut. Cultured vegetables, give them a try. Anyway, even if you don't want to try them on P2, definitely do them on P3 and P4 because they're fantastic for you. Especially if you get ones made with greens rather than, there's lots of them where there's carrots and red peppers and more sugary things in them. But, you know, if you get the green ones, then they're really super, super low carb. This is like, but one serving I'm having, like a couple of big spoonfuls of it, it's like 9 calories or something. It's craziness. And it's fairly filling. And, you know, because it's so sour, it kills your sweet tooth, so you just don't feel like anything sweet. So it's known that if you eat sauerkrauts, it stops you having a sugar craving. So that's been really, really helpful for me. I haven't had any sweet cravings on this round. Second thing I discovered, which has also been equally big in this round for me, I only discovered about 3 days ago. It's something called xanthan gum. And I think there's also another one called guar gum, which I haven't tried. But xanthan gum is the one I've tried. It's basically something like you can add like a teaspoon of it, and it thickens things. So a lot of people in phase 2 use it for gravies and stuff. They use guar gum or xanthan gum to make their gravies thicker. Well, I was thinking about it, and I thought, because I make this protein smoothie every day in between my meals because I get a bit hungry. You know, I don't have that much body fat left. I tend trying to eat close to 500 or 600 calories, and I don't eat the fruit and I don't eat the melbas, so I need extra protein. So I always have a protein shake at least once in the day, if not twice. But they're very thin. They're like drinking water, protein-flavored water with stevia in it, you know. Not so satisfying, not so filling. So I added like a teaspoon of xanthan gum into it, and it turned into the thick shake you had to eat with a spoon. It was so thick. It took me like an hour to eat it. I was like, this is gold. So since then I've been doing that, you know, putting sometimes just half a teaspoon in with my normal protein powder, water, stevia, and usually I just put some cinnamon in, real cinnamon or cinnamon powder, but real cinnamon grains that aren't processed in any way. Blend it all up. Yum! If I hadn't banned myself from cocoa powder, I'd probably put some of that in, but as you guys know from my previous vlog, I've decided to go cold turkey on cocoa powder because I was getting a bit addicted to the stimulus of the caffeine in it because it's basically pure chocolate. So I'm doing it with cinnamon this round. And then I made up a dessert yesterday when I just felt like a dessert. I was still a little bit hungry. I just put a little bit of protein powder, a little bit of water, a little bit of the xanthan gum, and blended it up. And then I put a tiny apple, like a really, really small green apple, that's like a half a normal apple. Blended that up because I hadn't had any fruit that day. And it sort of made it a bit chunky like a pudding. It was yum with some stevia. Probably sounds gross, but I like eating things that are kind of puddingy, like baby food. Anyway, so I'm happy with these two things I've discovered because they've made it a bit fun. I like trying new things, and I didn't do either of those last round. I bet I can invent a million things from this xanthan gum stuff. And it's healthy. It's not a processed food. It's good for you, so I feel good about it. So anyway, guys, that's the update. It's going really well. I'm at my LIW from tomorrow onwards. It's going to be new territory, so I'll keep you posted. It could be very, very exciting. I have no idea how I'm going to look. I have no idea how I'm going to feel. Alright guys, that's all for this vlog, so I'll see you all soon on the other side of 60 kilograms. Bye!